You might be tempted by these rear window regulator rebuild kits sold on eBay. If you see this blue splined cable drum in the kit, it's not going to fit the early version window regulators used on early 90s or before vehicles, despite what the listing says. The cable length is actually wrong because the diameter of that blue cable drum is different to the early version motor. There is a way around it. I went through all of the work today in removing the sliding piece off the replacement regulator by drilling out the rivet. I used various drill bits progressively up to 5mm in size, because I was using a 5mm nut and bolt to clamp it back together once it was apart. The reason for this is so I could remove the later aftermarket version cables and refit the original cables with the original motor. That was my plan all along, and this is me just resizing the internal hole of this rivet to 5mm. It's important to reuse this because it does act as a spacer and prevents the plastic piece being crushed by the clamping pressure of the nut and bolt. This was the final result, bolted back together, the aftermarket regulator with the original Bros brand motor and cables. Now this is only possible if the cables were not chewed up when the regulator failed. If they did, you pretty much have no choice but to buy a whole regulator. So this is just a demonstration of the working unit, and I did put blue Loctite on that thread under that bolt as well, under the nut I should say, and this is the unit operating. Obviously my first preference would be for a genuine new one, but that's not always cost effective.